Amazing game. You gave them lots of problems. They gave you lots of problems. Why did it end up being that epic end-to-end game that we saw?
Yeah, good advert for the Premier League. So both teams want to try to do quality players and ability to keep the ball, to drive with the ball many meters. So you have to defend deep but in general, we're really pleased. So nothing to regret. So we did everything. We could do better. Some mistakes, but they happen when the opponent bring you in the, in these conditions, the high level. But happy for the. We were close, but 8 minutes extra time, 9 minutes extra time is almost, a lot of time. And yeah, I think it's fair result because we have our momentum, especially when the 2-3, not to have 2 or 3 transitions that could kill the game because still 30 minutes to play. But in that moment we were close, it was control, and after we made some bad decisions or good decisions for them, and we draw.
I had the feeling throughout the match almost, like I think within 3 or 4 minutes you called Haaland over to relay a message to Alvarez, and then I think Diaz came over a little bit later, Walker, changed Grealish for Doku quite early in the second half. I just had the feeling that you were trying to maybe fix something or figure something out to give your team greater control.
Yeah, simply, yeah, always you have to think about it, what we can do and getting better, but guys, if people expect what we have done, we come here for to win 0-7. That is not going to happen. So they try to rebuild from new era from Chelsea. They everyone the players that they have and they have a top quality team. So we knew it and we compete and still have this desire, hungry. So yeah, in that terms, no complaints.
The ex-City lads caused you some problems, didn't they? Raheem Sterling and Cole Palmer.
Yeah, they are really good players. That's why they help us a lot to win what we won. They are part of that, so they are really, really part of our success. But at the end, both they won more, and they decide to come here.
I mean, Chelsea have got a lot of quality in midfield. Was it a real challenge to try and control midfield today?
Always, yeah, like chess. You control the middle, so you control the game. So. But they have, listen, when the middle have Gallagher, Caicedo and Enzo and Cole when drop, or Raheem come more inside and can keep the ball and run, so they are so dangerous. So they are a really, really good team. So there's no doubt here Liverpool could not win, Arsenal, they were much, much better than Arsenal, and at the end Arsenal draw at the end. So it's Chelsea,
yeah.
Go away, and the people believe. So I'm not going to say what Chelsea has done to do what they are right now as a team. And it's getting better because the teams they play good with a physicality, they have talent, they have speed, they have bench, they have a lot of things. So Chelsea is built what they have done and decide to do for the next years to be there. I always have been. So important is going to national break, top of the league. I couldn't expect after the Arsenal game when we lost and we were qualified for the Champions League. We're top of the league. Where we come from. Wow, that is really, really good. And now rest, hopefully they can bet fit, and the next games that they are really, really tough.
So overall, were you reasonably happy with your team's performance? We just had Rodri in for an interview, and he said it just became a bit their type of game, a bit transition heavy.
You have to know something. Always I'm happy at that team. We'll be not polite and not respectful of the players, what they have done for me, for our club, for many, many years. I will not be happy. Yeah, we were close, but this type of games that it does make the difference. Our 4 goals in deflection, and the 4 goal, we have to board it because we have the ball, and we lose it because we lose it, and you have to keep it. And that teams when you lose these simple balls with the speed that they have, and the transition is always difficult. And but in general, I'm pleased. Always I'm pleased.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Well, they are out in front. That was always going to be the case, whatever happened here, pretty much, barring a miracle. But they are now 1 point clear of Liverpool and Arsenal. Just 2 points between the top 4, 3 between the top 5 clubs after 12 games. What conclusions can we draw from 12 games, do we think? Are there any chinks in the armour moving forward? Are they just luring everybody else in?
I've still got that feeling, I must say that. I do think that Manchester City are still a level above Liverpool and Arsenal right now. Now, that might change over the next sort of 4 or 5 months as those teams grow. Certainly Liverpool, they've got a lot of new players. But City, no, it just still feels like we haven't seen the real City this season, and they're still top of the league. That's what I would say.
I think the defender, centre half moving into midfield, so Akanji was doing that role today, but I don't think anyone's really mastered it as much as John Stones. And when you put a defender in there, it's not just on the ball, you know, it's off the ball as well. So the reason they have him to go in there is to win the ball back early. At times, it just felt sometimes like from the midfield and the back, it was too easy for Chelsea to exploit that space. If it was one negative I could give to Man City.
Have you seen anything, Daniel, either today or across the first 12 games that makes you think they are not on course for a unprecedented fourth successive league title?
No, I agree with Jamie, to be honest, and Michael. I think we haven't seen the best of them yet. You know, we're used to seeing them, you know, probably play teams completely off the park. They've shown flashes of it, but as you said, they're still top of the league. So it's so early in the season, but to see them consistently get results, you know, they've got injuries, KDB's, you know, Kevin De Bruyne is the biggest name that they're missing right now, and to have him back, I'm sure they'll be overjoyed later on in the season as well.
But when you look at that league table, it's a great league table. You know, in that City haven't sort of moved away from everybody. I know it's still early in the season, but, you know, in some ways that was a really good result for the league. And I always like a league table where there's just a point between each sort of position. And listen, as the season goes on, those gaps will grow, whether, you know, the top four.
And the top two meet first game back.
Yeah, of course, that's the one next. And why shouldn't Liverpool go there and believe that they can be in this tight race? They are the one team, let's be honest about it, who have really pushed Manchester City over these last few years. But it is a new Liverpool team. But they could still be Manchester City's biggest challenges because they've got players and a manager who've been there before.
Chelsea still with a lot to do. Brilliant performance today, but they're 10 points outside the top four. That has to be the target, doesn't it? Here is Mauricio Pochettino now with Patrick Davison.
Well, Mauricio, for the second time in a week, it's an unbelievable game of football you've given us. You look really calm, but on the touchline, you must have been through every emotion.
Yes, it's true, because that is why we always said that the Premier League is the best league in the world. And yes, if we want to build something special here in Chelsea, it's in this way that we need to play and feel the game. I think it was another unbelievable game, scoring 4 goals again, and again a team that is, for me, the best on the world. And yes, it's good to go to the international break with this feeling.
So you said before the match you wanted to be protagonists, you wanted to get on the front foot, cause them problems. How were you able to cause them as many issues as you did?
Well, I think the approach of the game was really good. I think we were brave. We were thinking always to try to think on the opponent goal. That is the idea of football. That is the idea of mentality. I think yes, I am so proud. I am so happy because I think the players never give up. Always work for more. And then in a tough moment in the last minutes, I think the reaction of the team was amazing, and the players. That is why deserve all the credit.
With Cole Palmer sort of tucking in to make it a 4, were you able to give them a lot of problems in midfield?
Yes, because he's a player that understands the game and use the half positions, the play very well, very good in between the line and to create confusion to the opponent. He always give option to play and find the free man, you know. And yes, he's a player that we were talking before. No, he's this playmaker that link all the things, all the teammates, and make the team to look good.
Of course, it wouldn't be a Premier League game at the moment without a bit of controversy. Started and ended in controversy. We could see you weren't happy with the penalty, their penalty, and we could see you weren't happy again at the end. Should we start with that first incident, the penalty? What are your thoughts?
No, I think maybe I crossed the limit because I was so emotional there on the touchline. I want to say apologize to everyone and the referee because yes. And then I realized, and then when I was on the,
you're talking about full time now.
Sorry?
You're talking about your reaction at full time, are you?
Yes, at full time. But yes, I was really active during the game. No, I think he's trying to help, no, and to encourage the player to keep going, keep moving, being brave, you know, going forward, and knowing that we face a team that is an amazing team.
Do you think you might look back on this as a breakthrough week. You had your 4-1 win at Spurs. You've gone toe-to-toe with champions today. In the same way, there was that game against Villa, wasn't there, for Tottenham, that you always look back on and thought that was the moment where the project took hold. Was this the week the project at Chelsea took hold?
I think it's, yes. I think this type of game, I think, provide us the capacity to believe. And then, of course, we are going to face teams that are going to play completely different than Tottenham or Manchester City. We need to play another game also, no? And being competitive, being without the space, and to build and have more patience. Yeah, but that is provide the team and the player good knowledge about themselves and about your teammate and the team. That is in the process. It's the process to build up and downs, but that is the way that we want to build and the way that we want to play and the way that we want to challenge this big team like Manchester City tonight.
Thanks, Mauricio.
You're
well
welcome.
done.
You're welcome.
Wow.
Yeah, wow, indeed. And we were just discussing, actually, because, of course, we watched Spurs on Monday night win. We watched Chelsea win at Spurs on Monday night, and he seemed a lot happier, more relaxed in that interview than he ever did having won the game on Monday. Why would that be?
I think the challenge which they had today was playing against a fantastic football team in Manchester City, and I feel like they will take probably more from this, the feeling of actually, the result, knowing that they came up against this team. They went toe-to-toe against them. It wasn't as if they sat back and just said, all right, we're going to take a beating here today. They went on the front foot, tried to get a result, and I think they deserved the draw in the end.
What do you think he'll take from it, Jamie?
I think the players more than anything. The confidence that they can go up against the best team in the world, confidence in the manager as well, that he can set them up in a certain way. And it's not just this game. Every big game is give the opposition problems, really. So they were the better team against Liverpool. They were the better team against Arsenal. And I think they were the better team today, if I'm being totally honest, in terms of causing the opposition problems. So I think there's a lot to feel good about what's going on at Chelsea in terms of starting off. We can go back to the ownership and how much money they've spent, but in terms of Pochettino right now and a young team, I think there's a lot of optimism to going forward that they can compete with the best teams, and they've got a manager who can compete with the best managers.
So it feels like they're making progress without putting words in anyone's mouth. That's a feeling I'm getting from you all. But as I said, it's 10 points, the gap to the top 4. What do you think the targets will be this season?
Keep fighting for Champions League. It's as simple as that. It's going to be tough, but after the last 2 games, it would give them confidence. What I think about this team is they've got courage, because so many teams go behind against Man City and find no way back. They found a way back. They kept going and going, and they have quality. Let's have it right. Palmer and Sterling. Okay, Jackson's not the best striker in the world, but he works hard for the team. If we were talking about the Liverpool when they had Salah, Mane, Firmino was a great player on the ball. He didn't score as much as the other ones, but he had a role for the team. Jackson's role for this team might be pressing, and the goal scorers might be Palmer and Sterling. That's what they need to find out.
But what if, Daniel, they keep getting points in these big games against the best sides, but still struggle to put the lesser sides, if you like, away here at Stamford Bridge? It's 1 win in 14 now here, and they end up finishing 10th, 9th.
Well, look, we've got the international break to come. I'm sure the manager will be looking at all of the footage that he's seen from his team and figuring out ways what the issues were and what the solutions are to those problems in terms of facing lower blocks, in terms of facing teams that are very defensive. What type of things can we create with this group of players that I have right now until maybe transfer windows come and they can bring in players that he wants to have that can instantly implement his style. But I think they'll want to try and find solutions to break those teams down, and I think they will as time goes on, because you can see when they play against the top clubs, they are performing and they are showing that they are capable. Can they force their way into that conversation this season, Champions League?
I think they can, because we've got to remember how early it is. I mean, 3 or 4 weeks ago, you're right, Manchester United off for, the top 4. They're only 4 or 5 points off it.
Almost a third way through.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, I think you'd expect Chelsea to get better with Pochettino in charge. I don't think they get top 4, but should they still have a fight for it, even though they're 10 points behind? I think so, yeah. I think you're not competing against the best teams in the league when you're going for top 4, so at times they will drop points as well. So it's not like a team going for a title who more often than not win most weeks, so that won't happen. You saw, this weekend, Newcastle have lost a game, Tottenham have lost, and I still think they'll be involved in a top 4 position. So that will happen over that weekend. People in those positions will drop points, 2 or 3 of them will. So, yeah, listen, there's still a lot of fun to do. You look at that record, 1 win in 14, it's nowhere near good enough. But there's certainly, in terms of, Pochettino as a manager, he'd be the biggest thing that would make me believe that there can be some sort of challenge.
But and that's the ultimate aim, really, here with this level of investment, this huge recruitment project, is to be challenging for the biggest titles, the Premier League, Manchester City. How far away is that?
I think it's a distance, but when you spend a big old billion, you do want results maybe instantly. I think the fans here are used to winning trophies, challenging for titles, the team entertaining them and potentially dominating against teams. And I think this season has been a lot more even games. So I do think they are a distance away from the former Chelsea that they were, winning titles and all those things. But it's a work in progress with a young group of players. It will take time, but the manager said in his interview, there's a lot of optimism. He has faith in these players, and it will take time.
Well, like you say, they're used to winning. There's the last 9 seasons in a nutshell, 2 Premier League titles, and only 1 season since 2015-16 outside the top 5. And that, of course, was the mess of last season. In that time, you're throwing in Champions League, domestic honours. Is there going to be the patience, Micah?
I think because of the manager, yes. I think he's got a feel-good factor about him. He's a good coach. We've seen what he did at Spurs when he was challenging for the league. How long, I don't know, but I think over the next 18 months, he'll give a right good go. And don't forget, we've got transfer windows. Come January, if they're thereabouts, they'll go spend money.
Are you talking about the manager in terms of patience?
No, I'm just talking about the whole project, if you like.
The best thing about Chelsea right now is Pochettino. Not the players, not the owners, the manager that they've got. That's the most important man. That's it. When you talk about Chelsea getting back to winning trophies, the best option they've got right now in terms of manager, I'm not sure they could have got a better manager than what they've got. Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp are at clubs. So Pochettino is the best manager available for them right now. And he is the most important and the best thing about Chelsea right now. So everything around him has to improve.
By project, I mean they've set this course of trying to buy the best young players across world football. If that's going to happen, surely they need time.
We know now that hasn't worked. It's been a mess. It's been a disaster. It hasn't worked.
But is this evidence that it's actually getting better, that they are making progress under the right manager?
That's because of the manager. So the manager, I think, in terms of the big games, can't get any more out of those group of players. And if they are to get, you asked before how far away they are from Manchester City, they're miles away from Manchester City.
So would you support Micah's view that then you have to target more spending in January?
100%. Goalkeeper, striker, centre-back.
I think the key is identifying the players that Pochettino wants to play in his system. I think that's the key. When you talk about Liverpool, I think the players that they go for and the ones they sign typically are ones that are the design of players the manager wants. So I think that's the thing that Chelsea will need now. A lot of these signings were obviously before Pochettino got here, so these players aren't really his guys. Yeah. There's going to be players that will come in, that he'll want, he knows what they can do, or he feels he knows what they can do. And I think that's the most important thing now, getting players that he wants to say, yeah, this is the guy I believe that can make us, fill that space and make the difference.
Who else goes into this international window feeling really good about themselves? What about Aston Villa, 5th right now, 25 points on the board and equaling a 40-year record today with a 13th successive home win?
I can't believe what Emery's doing. I think it's sensational. They've got some good players, but to sustain it for as long as he has, and the football that they play, we talk about systems, they've got a really good system. We've got players who have been there, like the likes of John McGinn. When I was there, he's flourishing under a new manager, and they just managed to keep going and going.
I think you could make an argument that Unai Emery is possibly the 3rd best manager in this Premier League, in that you've probably got Klopp and Guardiola, Champions League winners. But when you actually look at the body of work of Unai Emery, not just at Aston Villa, you continually winning, Europa Leagues, teams he's been at, even like sort of Mikel Arteta and probably even Pochettino haven't got that sort of CV in terms of winning trophies. If
we could just put the table back up for a second. I just want to ask Jamie this question about, if we sort of separate that top 4, and 5th, it looks like there's every chance, up to saying it's about a 78% chance right now that the 5th place team in the Premier League next season will be playing Champions League football, depending on how they do in this season's Champions League ultimately. Who takes that 5th place? Do Aston Villa finish above Manchester United and Newcastle, Brighton, West Ham and Chelsea?
I think right now, not just right now, if you look over the last sort of 12 months since Unai Emery came in, and if you're talking about Manchester United, Aston Villa are a better coach team than Manchester United. There's absolutely no doubt about that.
Who would you back over the long run?
It's a close call. I do agree. You know, before the season started, at the launch for Sky, I said I think Villa are a really good team and they'll surprise people this season, and they're showing it. You know, Jamie's talked about Unai Emery, and I've heard from a lot of players how good of a coach he is. You know, he's worked at some big football clubs as well, so make no mistake, there's a lot of owners out there who believe this guy can change the landscape of their football club. You got Man United in there, and I think they are getting results. They're not playing great football at the moment, but I think they'll be probably a little bit happy with where they are, considering how they've performed. So they're well within a shout. You've got Newcastle, who are, you know, sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. So I think it's going to be interesting. You know, it's going to be a great end to the season, but it's very early.
A long time since Haaland actually put City in front from the penalty spot. Jamie, you called it live, and you thought there was a question to be answered about who was actually fouling who at the start of it. But given that it was given on field, can you understand why VAR decided there wasn't enough evidence to say clear and obvious error?
Yes, and maybe I didn't make that clear enough on commentary. I just thought, I just felt for Cucurella. There's no doubt he started by almost trying to be tight with Haaland, just keep it all. We've all been there as a defender. And then Haaland's almost just, not throws him to the floor, but just uses his power. Almost like, get off. And I think that's why he gains that advantage in terms of getting in front of him. So, yeah, I can understand why VAR haven't overturned it, but I just felt a little bit maybe being a defender in that position myself. So you just see them both got hold of each other there. There's nothing wrong, you know, both doing the same thing. And it's just that probably extra bit of strength from Haaland throws Cucurella out the way, hence why he finds himself ahead of him.
We questioned as well earlier in that move, Daniel, whether Caicedo had, you know, put Reece James off here, or whether actually he'd been shoved into him a little bit.
Well, yeah, I think he has eased into him a little bit, and maybe the momentum of the speed of how it went down, you know, that's what put Reece James down now.
But if Caicedo doesn't go in, does James actually clear that in a quite straightforward manner? Danger gone?
I think he would, yeah. So, you know, maybe that is something that, you know, they could have looked at, but in the end they didn't. So, you know, I think they made the right decision in the end in terms of allowing Chelsea the opportunity to get the penalty. I personally felt as if, when I watched it, that it didn't quite feel as if Haaland would have headed the ball, but the referees have a decision to make. They felt like they made the right decision, so it is what it is.
And we have seen today two brilliant exponents of penalties, haven't we? First of all, Haaland.
Yeah, cool as you like, slid bottom bin, and the power of it, just really composed. You know, that's what it's all about in those moments, composure.
Just makes it look so easy. But how good were Chelsea, Micah, having gone a goal down through that first half?
Yeah, I just thought they kept on coming and coming and coming. I mean, Jamie mentioned in commentary that, you know, the blocking that's going on there, and it was just a wonderful header. The way he glanced it, you'll see it on this angle here. He's just stood behind Dizazi there, and the way he just makes that front run. Haaland's obviously blocked off there, and it's just a glancing header. It was a real brilliant. You see, Haaland can't affect the play there, but yeah.
Did they deserve the lead, Jamie, when it came?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I think, you know, Chelsea were excellent. I kept mentioning through the game about Cole Palmer's position, how well they'd done through midfield, but Guardiola on the back post there does not do too well. And, you know, he's coming as a big money signer. He looks like a centre-back playing left-back. That's the best way to describe Guardiola, certainly since he's come in. But I mentioned also on commentary Raheem Sterling, the amount of times you'd see him score that type of goal for Manchester City. You just see the mix up there, and Reece James just puts it on a plate for him. But as I said, we've seen that goal so often for Raheem Sterling.
And remember, we're still in the first half here before we get our fourth goal, Micah, the equaliser.
Yeah, I think what I like about this is the short corner, and then Akanji sort of, as the ball goes back, Enzo Fernandez runs out, who's normally doing a blocking job there, and just leaves and creates that space for Akanji to find that, gets above Thiago Silva, and another brilliant header. And I'm thinking, there can't be more goals, can they? And the ball just kept flowing and flowing.
We wondered at half-time how long we'd have to wait for another goal. We had to wait 90 seconds, actually, before City managed to get themselves in front. The question was, would Chelsea be able to find another gear? Did this mean that City were going to go on and win comfortably from this point? It just didn't happen. This was a lovely throwing move, Daniel.
Yeah, very much so. You know, great build-up play. I was talking about before the game, you know, look at Haaland's position here, hold-up play. He picks up the ball. And I wanted Phil Foden to get more involved, get on the ball more. Times his pass, you see the overlap there is brilliant. Times the pass perfectly, and Haaland's in a great position in order to put the ball in the back of the net.
They did look at it very, very closely. There was a save from Sanchez. It's a question whether it should actually have got more on it.
Well, I mean, he put it in with his cheeks. So in the end, you know, they were looking at the hand and the elbow and these things. And I think it'd have been very harsh to say, OK, now, you know.
Can you imagine if that was being disallowed for the elbow?
Well, Micah was going to turn this studio upside down if they had disallowed that. I can tell you at this point in time. Just look out for his left elbow before the ball crosses the line.
Yeah, I mean, and initially I didn't understand what they were looking for because it looked so clear to me. And just see the elbow there. I mean, can you imagine if that was being disallowed? but I think if you just look at it back, Haaland was brilliant to actually keep his right arm out the way. It's almost like he's really conscious of his right arm not getting involved and maybe knocking it in with his, his elbow for the other arm. So he actually did really well. He was really aware of the situation.
I think we can have another look. It's coming. You think of all the strikers who need a goal off the backside. Haaland's probably not one of them, is he?
No, but I just think, you know, you're flying in for a goal, you know you're going to get it, and just looking with his right arm, he just knows he's got to keep it out the way. It's brilliant. You're talking about centre-forward playing and finishing, but just to be able to be thinking like that in that split second, knowing that the goal will be taken off you, if your right arm just comes down.
So as a striker, are you adjusting your position there? Is that just instinct there? What's he thinking about there?
I think so. I think if the ball hits him, maybe try to keep it out. So it's almost like I need to make sure I'm out of the way completely here. I don't want to touch the ball. I don't want the ball to end up staying on the line or whatever it may be. I want this ball to go in the back of the net.
Thankfully, I think for everybody, the goal was allowed. Then we saw Cole Palmer dancing through the Manchester City defence. This would have been some goal.
He was picking up some fine positions, and you see him jink through here. And look at the power to be able... Just a little dinky would have done the job. You know, it was a bit off...
Did he lose his footing a little bit?
Yeah, it was a little bit off balance, but you see, on the half-turn, he picks it up and he's jinking through. Shows a lot of power here to get out of these guys. Just a little dink would have done the job, I think. The keeper was already down, and that would have been probably the right finish to do there.
So how pleased were you for Nicholas Jackson to get himself on the score sheet again? 6 in 11 now.
Yeah, very pleased for him. I think, he's had opportunities throughout the season. There were a lot of questions about his composure and his finishing and can he do the job. But I think today we look at this goal here and it's more about the anticipation. As a centre-forward, anticipation and composure are key. He's on the move in the box. He takes a first touch, which, again, some people may hit that first time. But he's took a touch, composed himself and slid it home. So it was a very nice finish for him.
So is it the end of the debate then about Chelsea centre-forwards?
No.
6 in 11.
But it's something I never noticed this on commentary, just looking at it again back. I talk about Thiago Silva the other side. Just keep an eye on Ruben Diaz. He just makes a strange decision to throw himself on the floor, and then if he doesn't actually make that decision, he's there to clear it in front of Jackson because he was never going to block the shot. He was too far away. It just seemed a bizarre decision just to see him throw himself across there. He's not in the line of the ball anyway, but the goalkeeper's got to do better, hasn't he, Micah?
Yeah, I would think for his quality, just think about when you talk about keepers, when a ball comes in, like, can you parry it left or right away from the goal? So it went in centre and then...
Are you accepting that's a really good finish, though, from Jackson?
It was a brilliant finish.
Yeah. Good. Glad we clarified that. Both teams were tiring. Both teams threw on substitutes, and one of them found himself in a fantastic position here. Coulda, woulda, shouldas, but...
I'll take this as a right back.
Go on.
But I've been in this position so many times. And what you do in this position, you're almost celebrating before the ball's into the back of the net. So really, he's obviously right-footed.
Oh, yes.
He can go on his right-footed. But he's almost anticipating the ball's going to go in the net. He's thinking about...
I can imagine him celebrating.
Yeah, he's already... But
what would be the striker's tip to him in that moment?
Look, he's tried to do the right thing, curl it into the far corner. It got under. It chose the wrong club at the golf bag.
Was it leaning back? Was it leaning back a little bit?
It was leaning back. That's
what club should they have gone for?
I don't play golf.
What finish should he have gone for?
No, he should have got... I think he should have... He did the right thing. I just think he leaned back a little bit. So, if he keeps his body over the ball, maybe he would have been able to keep it a bit lower. And again, what we saw earlier on in that, the keepers may parry it, and then you can get the rebound. That's the key in those positions. Unless you're going to really pick the perfect spot. It's always about keeping it low and trying to make them make saves, so at least your mate can get a rebound.
I'm just thinking now what celebration it would have been. It would have been amazing. The celebration from Rodri was pretty special, right in front of the Manchester City fans, because he thought he'd won the game. Just the bonus, Jamie, I suppose, for just taking a shot in a dangerous area.
Yeah, initially I thought Kovacic should have shot there when he played that pass into Haaland. I thought the chance had gone. And listen, it's just you hit one from outside the box. We've seen that, certainly a cleaner strike in the Champions League final. But this time it's on his weaker foot. He probably thinks he's going to get tackled by Conor Gallagher, so he just throws his left foot at it. And just that little nick off Thiago Silva.
Can I ask you questions about defenders in those moments, right? Because you see this a lot where a guy's taking a long shot and you stick your foot out. Is that, what is that?
Natural reaction.
Right.
Because I'm not saying you want to be the hero, but you taught to put your body on the line, and if the ball comes into your area, the first thing you think is just, I've got to get my legs out. If it's going past me, can I stop that ball from going in the back of the net? And that's happened to us so many times, Jim.
Yeah, it has, but it's not great from Thiago Silva because it's almost not one thing or the other. He's not throwing himself at it to block, and he's not letting it go and backing his goalkeeper. He's almost just dangling a lazy leg. I think I said on commentary.
Well, that phrase, that phrase. Hopefully, that your microphone is still working. But the phrase "lazy leg." I mean, could you actually choose a different phrase to describe it for a 39-year-old?
Yeah.
In the 90th minute.
I mean,
of the game?
listen, I don't like being critical at all of Thiago Silva because he's fantastic. Imagine being 39 and coming up against Erling Haaland. You know. But listen, yeah, it was just, it's one of them things. We've both been there. You're not quite sure. It happens in a split second, but he just got himself caught where he wasn't quite doing one thing or the other.
Did you think that was it? Game, set and match, Micah?
I did, yeah. I really did. I think, normally, I said before, Man City normally know how to manage games, see games out. But the madness of the game just kept giving. It was crazy.
And it was another substitute. Talk us through this, Daniel, and Broyer's intervention from the bench here.
Well, you see, when the moment happened in terms of the incident, it's a fantastic ball from Raheem. Nice little dink there. And he's almost took the touch and trying to slow his body down. And, like, those little moves that you do where it's like, oh, I'm going to shoot, it creates the defender to make a challenge this late in the game and takes his leg out. And, of course, it's a penalty. But fantastic first touch. But it looks like he's about to shoot. It is a little bit of a reckless challenge, to be honest. But
I understand why he has done it. You've explained, from a striker's point of view. But 92 minutes on the clock, and you're thinking, just throw your body on the line. And it was just an exquisite touch which takes it away from him, Jamie.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's rash. We just highlighted it before. I love Ruben Dias. I think he's one of the best defenders in the Premier League, but it is really rash. But what you've got to say is credit to Pochettino and credit to Jackson. He's got two strikers up there, so they're taking the two centre-backs. Jackson makes a really good run, drags one of the centre-backs across. Diaz has to come across, hence why he finds himself in between Kyle Walker and Ruben Dias with that space. Just keep it so you've got two strikers there. What's the run of Jackson now? He just drags Ruben Dias 2 yards one way. Kyle Walker's coming across, and then again it's very rash, it's panicky late in the game, but credit to the Chelsea manager.
And to Cole Palmer as well, who had 2 minutes and 43 seconds to get his head around the fact he's grown up as a City player. He's left them this year to join Chelsea. He's now, with his team, 4-3 down in injury time. He's got the chance to change the course of this game. What's going through his mind, Danny? He said not very much.
For those 2 minutes and 41 seconds, it was like he was in an igloo. He was just cool, calm, collected, stayed away from the vibe, tried to compose himself, keep himself on song. And when he ran up there and took that penalty, you could see how much conviction he took the penalty with. It wasn't like a lazy one. It was, I'm going for this, and I'm putting it there. It was composed, man.
There was so much conviction. And I think I said on commentary about sort of the arrogance of it, sort of his celebration afterwards.
Well, he said, Jamie, in his interview, didn't he, that he doesn't practice it. This is natural ability, the instinct that he relies upon.
I think to come into a football club at such a young age, and a club that has spent hundreds of millions on players, and to say, you know what, I'm taking the penalties. You think of the money they spent on lots of players there. I think there was an incident, with Raheem Sterling, and that's why he's on the penalties. I mean, what's he got, 4 now? 4 out of 4?
4 in 5 games.
But, I mean, I think that tells you a lot about what his character's like, the fact that he's come into this football club and, wants the responsibility. And it feels like when Chelsea are looking for a goal, it's, I'm getting the goal, I'm getting on the ball, give me the ball, I'm going to do something.
Can you imagine staying that calm in that moment?
When it comes to penalties, and what I like about Cole Palmer, because it was obviously difficult coming through the Manchester City academy, and like I said beforehand, you never want to see academy player leave so soon. You want him to play at Manchester City and play loads of games like the likes of Foden. He was going to be the next Foden, but he's seen the opportunity, and you always say, Cara, young players have got to play games. He's gone down, you know, playing for a team that's fighting relegation. He's gone for a team that want to be in the Champions League, and he's just stepped up. And it's not just his composure for the penalties; it's his all-round game. Like week in, week out, his performances have been fantastic. Whether he's playing on the right, where he goes in the middle. He did his defensive work today. His weight of his pass is excellent. And yeah, for Man City, to see him go is a little bit devastating. But I'm just glad he's playing well.
And I think it's that self-belief. You know, even for myself when I was younger and I moved to Chelsea from Manchester City, it was about having that self-belief. Like, look, I know I'm good enough. I feel that I should be given more of an opportunity. So now he's playing with that supreme confidence in knowing, look, I'm at this level, this is my level, I can do this. And he's showing it week in, week out, so credit to the player.
I think the thing that stands out for me is, and I get frustrated by this a lot, there's lots of players play for big football clubs, but they don't really play. And they'll say, I've won the Champions League, I've won the league 3 times, I've done this and I've done that. But we all know they're a squad player, they come on now and again. And I admire the fact that he's moved on to Chelsea, because he'll be feeling a lot better in these last 4 to 6 weeks than he probably ever has done at Manchester City, no matter what medal he's picked up. Because we all know as players, in your heart of hearts, you know when you deserve a medal or you've been a big part of something. When you're on the outside, looking in, it doesn't feel great. So we'll feel an awful lot better, even if he's at Chelsea for the next 2 or 3 years, and they might pick up 1 Carabao Cup or 1 FA Cup. He'll feel his body of work here, if he continues the way he's going, is a lot better than what he's done at Manchester City. And he might be able to say the medals he's won. Because that happens too often. It's nonsense for me, to be honest, sometimes, the medal. No, it is. So many players have won this and have won that. No. Listen, everyone plays the part, but we all know as a player, when you've had a major role in a football team who's successful, he's a major part of this Chelsea team right now. He almost feels like the main man.
I think he's a great player. He's a great young player. He's coming through, doing the things that I think he expects of himself. You know, I think in terms of when he moved to this football club, I think he was searching for an opportunity, and maybe at Manchester City, he felt like, I am good enough to be here and play. And Pep Guardiola has so many options within that football club that he felt like, you know what, we're going to give you an opportunity to go to a club. And Chelsea, you know, a club of high level, chose to buy the player, and they believed in him. And I think now, as I said, he's got the opportunity to play, go and express himself, work hard, prove to himself. It's not about proving other people wrong. It's sometimes about proving yourself right, and that's what he's trying to do now. It's about proving that I am good enough, I am the man, I can do this, I can show people what I'm about.
Was he in the English squad?
21s.
OK. He looks to me like the player. There's always probably a couple of players who make that late surge, you know, when there's a tournament in the summer. You're looking at him the way he's playing right now, you think there's a great opportunity for him, or there's a great chance that he's going to end up in that Euro squad.
Here on the commentary box for complete coverage is Lee Dixon. And we've got Premier League action coming right up. It is Manchester City taking on Chelsea.
Yeah, really looking forward to this one, Derek. Excite me, come on, let's see some entertainment.
De Bruyne. And slipped through beautifully. Flag raised for offside. And here's the Manchester City lineup. Ederson starts in goal. Alexander Zinchenko starts with Joao Cancelo in the fullback positions. Kevin De Bruyne plays with Rodri in central midfield. And the focal point in attack is Gabriel Jesus. And he's made headway. Oh, punch happy, the keeper. I must say, Lee, respect and admiration grows for Kevin De Bruyne with each passing year. So many attributes. What do you... Well, just went a bit too early. Offside. Just tell us, Lee, what you think the plan should be from the point of view of the visitors.
Well, I think the visitors will get everybody behind the ball and try and spring attacks from that position. And if you've got the right type of players to soak up that pressure, then why not adopt that tactic? Makes complete sense to me.
Might still be able to do a bit of damage. Werner. And a good-looking ball. Is it going to be? And there it is, 1-0. Their efforts have been rewarded. And look at the celebrations.
Well, here's the replay. It's a lovely time pass over a static defence. And he chooses to use power in the finish. Not much chance for the keeper when it's hit that hard.
So the match has restarted, 1-0 here. Rodri. Gabriel Jesus now. And Chelsea with the